There is an old saying that echoes through the halls of history. Wealth screams, but wealth whispers. In our youth, we may be tempted by the noise, the flash, the logos, the desperate need to be seen. But for the gentleman over 50, the rules change. True status is no longer about how much you can show, but how much you can withhold. It is the subtle distinction between a costume and a uniform, between chasing a fleeting trend and honoring a timeless legacy. It is not about the numbers in your bank account, but the dignity of your presence. Today, we dissect the 5 visual pillars that separate the loud anxiety of new money from the enduring silence of old money. Distinction 1. Logomania versus texture. The first, and perhaps most immediate indicator of where a man stands, lies in his relationship with the label. We begin with the concept of logomania versus texture. For the new money mindset, luxury is a performance. It is a spectacle designed to be viewed from a distance. The garment serves a singular, loud purpose: to announce the price tag to the world. You see this in the oversized monograms, the gilded buckles, and the bold lettering splashed across chests and accessories. It is, in essence, a cry for validation. When a man in his 50s drapes himself in aggressive branding, he is unwittingly signaling an insecurity, a fear that without the logo, his presence alone is not enough to command respect. He becomes a walking billboard for a corporation, trading his personal identity for commercial signaling. However, the old money philosophy operates on an entirely different frequency. Here, the logo disappears, and the focus shifts entirely to texture. This is the silent language of the elite. It is not read from across the street. It is understood only in close proximity, or better yet, through touch. When you remove the noise of a brand name, you are forced to confront the quality of the material itself. The old money aesthetic is obsessed with the tactile experience. It is the visual depth of a charcoal flannel suit that absorbs light rather than reflecting it. It is the complex, earthy roughness of a Harris tweed jacket that tells a story of the Scottish Isles. It is the buttery, almost liquid drape of pure vicuña or cashmere, and the imperfect, organic patina of full-grain leather that has aged alongside its owner. Why is this distinction so vital for the mature man? Because texture communicates substance. A heavy Irish linen or a high-twist wool speaks of durability, heritage, and a discernment that cannot be faked. It shows that you dress for your own comfort and sensory pleasure, not for the applause of an audience. In this world, the most expensive items often look the simplest to the untrained eye. But to those who know, the people you actually want to attract, the richness of the fabric speaks volumes. It says that you are confident enough to be anonymous, yet distinguished enough to be unforgettable. You have moved beyond the need to prove your worth through a graphic print. You have arrived at a place where the garment is a second skin, not a costume. This is the fundamental difference between buying a price tag and investing in an experience. Distinction 2. Loud versus muted palette. We move now to the spectrum of color, the visual frequency at which a man chooses to vibrate. This brings us to the second distinction, the loud versus the muted. In the psychology of new money, color is often wielded as a weapon of distraction. It is high saturation, high contrast, and binary. We see this in the sharp electric blues, the aggressive neons, and the jarring reds that seem to vibrate against the retina. This approach to color is rooted in the concept of peacocking, the biological urge to be the brightest object in the landscape. For a man over 50, relying on such a loud palette can be perilous. It often reads not as vibrancy, but as a desperate attempt to cling to the visibility of youth. It creates a visual assault where the clothes arrive in the room before the man does. The suit screams so loudly that the voice of the wearer is drowned out. Contrast this with the old money approach, which is fundamentally architectural and organic. The gentleman of established taste draws his palette from the permanent elements of the world: stone, wood, earth, and deep water. He favors the muted palette. This is the realm of navy blue, charcoal gray, forest green, camel, and deep burgundy. These are colors that do not demand attention. They command it through harmony. The secret weapon of the old money aesthetic is the art of the monochromatic or tonal outfit. Imagine a man wearing a pair of charcoal wool trousers, a lighter gray cashmere sweater, and a slate gray herringbone overcoat. There is no sharp contrast to break the eye's journey. The result is a seamless vertical line that elongates the silhouette, making the man appear taller, leaner, and infinitely more composed. Furthermore, muted colors serve a critical strategic purpose. They frame the face. When you wear a soft oatmeal cream or a deep midnight blue, the garment acts as a supporting character, allowing your face, your eyes, your expressions, and your silver hair to take center stage. The clothes retreat into the background, providing a rich, dark canvas for the man's personality to shine. To master this style is to understand that you are part of the environment, not separate from it. A gentleman does not need to glow in the dark to be seen. He understands that in a world full of noise and neon, the most powerful color is the one that rests the eye. It is the visual equivalent of a low, confident voice in a crowded room. Distinction 3. The fit, skinny versus tailored. We arrive now at the architecture of the body, and perhaps the most misunderstood aspect of modern menswear. This is the third distinction, the constriction of the skinny fit versus the fluidity of tailoring. In the realm of new money and fast fashion, there is a pervasive myth that tighter equals younger. We see this manifested in the skinny silhouette, suit jackets that pull aggressively at the buttons, trousers that cling to the calves like a second skin, and shirts that restrict blood flow. For a man over 50, this silhouette does not communicate youth. It communicates vanity. It suggests a desperate attempt to showcase the body at the expense of dignity. Visually, it creates a sense of tension. When a man looks like he cannot exhale fully in his own suit, he projects anxiety, not authority. It is a style rooted in restriction, turning the garment into a cage. The old money aesthetic, conversely, is built on the principle of the drape. This is a term beloved by master tailors of Savile Row and Naples. Drape is the way fabric hangs from the body, rather than clinging to it. A gentleman understands that clothing should skim the body, hinting at the form underneath, without tracing every contour. The trousers are cut with a higher rise to lengthen the leg line, with enough room in the thigh to sit and cross one's legs with absolute ease. The jacket shoulders are clean, but the chest has room, literally breathing room. This approach creates a clean, unbroken vertical line that we call a strong silhouette. It hides imperfections and enhances the man's natural stature. But beyond the visual, it is about the psychology of comfort. True luxury is the ability to move through the world without restriction. A gentleman in a well-tailored suit looks relaxed, almost nonchalant, a quality the Italians call sprezzatura. He looks comfortable in his own skin because his clothes are not fighting against him. When you wear a suit that allows for movement, you project a subconscious message of power. It says that you are at ease with your position in the world. You are not trying to squeeze yourself into a mold that doesn't fit. You have built a mold that fits you. The new money look is about showing off the gym results. The old money look is about showing off the man. Remember, a tight suit is a costume for a boy. A tailored suit is the uniform of a man. Distinction 4. Bling versus patina. We now focus on the details, the accessories that punctuate a man's appearance. This brings us to the fourth, and perhaps most poetic distinction, the blinding flash of bling versus the soulful depth of patina. In the culture of new money, value is inextricably linked to the pristine condition of an object. There is an obsession with the brand new. We see this in the diamond-encrusted watches, the mirror-polished gold chains, and the stiff, untouched leather goods that smell of the factory floor. The goal of bling is to catch the light, to refract it aggressively, creating a visual disturbance that demands immediate attention. It is a transactional display of wealth, declaring, "I have money right now." However, this pursuit of sterile perfection carries a hidden hollowness. A pristine object has no history, no narrative. It is interchangeable. When a mature man adorns himself with sparkling, untouched accessories, he creates a disconnect. He risks looking like he is trying to erase his past rather than own it. Old money, by contrast, reveres the concept of patina. Patina is the sheen on a leather briefcase that has been carried to 1,000 meetings. It is the softening of a waxed cotton jacket worn through decades of autumn rain. It is the microscopic scratches on a vintage gold watch that tell the story of its wearer. To the gentleman of established taste, these imperfections are not damages to be repaired. They are chapters of a biography. Patina is the physical manifestation of time. It is the one luxury that cannot be bought off the shelf. It must be earned. It requires patience, loyalty to one's possessions, and a life actively lived. For the man over 50, this distinction is paramount. Your face bears the lines of laughter and wisdom. Your hair carries the silver of experience. Why should your possessions be any different? There is a profound harmony when a man's accessories match his own gravity. A pair of Oxfords with a rich, darkened toe cap, or a signet ring with a softened crest complements the dignity of aging. It suggests that you are not a man who constantly replaces things, but a man who cares for them. Bling is insecure. It needs to shine to prove its worth. Patina is confident. It glows with the warmth of memory. Ultimately, new money buys objects to impress strangers. Old money builds relationships with objects to comfort themselves. The scuff on the leather, the fade on the dial, these are the fingerprints of your legacy. Embrace them. Distinction 5. Demeanor, haste versus stillness. Finally, we arrive at the unseen fabric that binds everything together. It is not something you wear. It is something you project. This is the fifth and ultimate distinction. The anxiety of haste versus the power of stillness. In the fast-paced ecosystem of new money, time is viewed as a scarce commodity that must be chased. Consequently, the demeanor is defined by a frantic kinetic energy. We observe this in the man who is constantly checking his phone during dinner, the restless shifting in the chair, the rapid-fire speech, and the wandering eyes that are always scanning the room for someone more important. This behavior is rooted in the modern misconception that business is a status symbol. The unspoken message is, I am in demand, therefore I am valuable. But to the discerning eye, this haste betrays a lack of control. It signals that the man is a servant to his schedule, a slave to external validation. He is loud not just in volume, but in movement. The old money ethos, however, regards time differently. Time is not something to be raced against. It is something to be commanded. The hallmark of a true gentleman over 50 is an unshakable stillness. Watch a man of established pedigree enter a room. He does not rush. His movements are deliberate, measured, and unhurried. He speaks with pauses, comfortable in the silence, knowing that he does not need to fill every void with noise to maintain his authority. When he listens, he offers you his undivided attention, a luxury far rarer than a gold watch in today's distracted world. This stillness is not lethargy. It is density. It is the gravitational pull of a man who is entirely comfortable in his own existence. This demeanor stems from a concept known as sovereignty, the absolute ownership of oneself. A gentleman does not need to prove he is busy to feel important. He understands that the ultimate sign of power is the ability to slow down the world around him. For the mature man, this is the final piece of the puzzle. You can wear the finest bespoke suit, the most tasteful vintage watch, and the perfect patina leather shoes. But if your spirit is frantic, the illusion shatters. You become merely a rich man in a hurry. But combine those elements with the weight of composure, and you transcend fashion entirely. You become a presence. In conclusion, the difference between old money and new money is not just in the cut of the cloth, but in the beat of the heart. One races to be seen, the other waits to be discovered. As you curate your image, remember, do not just dress like a gentleman, breathe like one. Gentlemen, we have traversed the landscape of style, from the fabric on your back to the silence in your step. Remember, old money is not merely a tax bracket, it is a mindset. It is the conscious choice to value whisper over shout, texture over logo, and legacy over trend. As you stand before your mirror tomorrow, ask yourself, does this image reflect who I am or who I want people to think I am? The distinction is everything. If you are ready to continue this journey of refined masculinity and master the art of aging with grace, subscribe to the Old Money Gentleman. Until next time, stay timeless.